Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to a special edition of Morning Brew. With me this morning is my guest, Ryan Roger Athay. Did I get it correct?
It's Ryan Roger Athay, yes.
See, I got it right. Yay! Oh, finally. Well, at least I've had coffee this morning. Every other time it's always been in chat, and I'm going.
Yes.
So
I've been known to have the occasional blooper now and then. I call it going Joe Biden. So, hello everyone in the chat. I can't respond to you because I only have one tab up and it's barely running as it is. So, hi to you all. Hope you're doing well, and it's great to be here with Captain Trek.
well, thank you. Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to get started with this one. What originally got you started on YouTube?
Well, I'll tell you this, Captain, and to everyone in the chat. This is my second run as a content creator. I don't really like calling myself a YouTuber, mainly because I may not be on YouTube forever, so I prefer content creator. But I started off initially just to speak my mind on topics and people that I was interested in. The biggest problem with that, though, was I needed to find a lot of material. And that's why the first time I was a content creator from late 2020, about October 2020 until early 2021 in January, February, I stopped because I ran out of things to talk about. So this is my second go. Start of the second run was October 28th, 2021. I had 37 subscribers and less than 2,000 views. And in nearly 6 months, 28th of April will be the 6th month anniversary of the second run. But in 6 months, I've gone from 37 to over 400. Now it's 405. And today's video that I'll be doing later on will be celebrating getting past 400 subscribers. So, yeah, here I am.
Awesome. I'm gonna see what happens over the weekend, because that's usually when I have a drop in the number of subscribers. I think that's when YouTube does their little purge every week.
Oh.
Because I usually, between Friday and Monday, there's always a drop, and it could vary between 3 and 7 subscribers usually. 3, I can see people unsubscribing. 7, usually, if I'm not streaming, it's a YouTube thing.
Yes. Because we all have our peaks and troughs, ladies and gentlemen. But in the long term, we all rise so long as we're consistent in content creation. But YouTube does mess with smaller channels and channels that they disagree with. They'll deny it to the hilt, but we can see it in our analytics, and we can see it on Social Blade. I love Social Blade, Captain. It's a wonderful tool to analyze growth.
Well, when my computer crashed, I lost access to my Social Blade. It won't let me reset the password. I don't know what the password is, so I'm screwed. So I have to find a way to contact Social Blade. It's like, how do I get access to my account? But I love Social Blade. I agree with you completely. It was one of the best ways I had to keep an eye on things, because there were things you can look in YouTube's own reports and see inconsistencies. It's like, what? I had how many views? Shows how many views for one page, how many views for a different one, and the numbers don't add up on the same video. It's like, what? So yeah, YouTube is a little finicky sometimes.
The system is rigged against you, folks. But so long as you keep working hard, keep making content, if you build it, they will come. I'm living proof of that. The channel has increased by a size greater than 10 in 6 months. Hopefully that continues. But I usually don't get my hopes up. When I started making videos, I made a promise to myself. I will still make videos even if nobody watches them. I will still make them because I like doing it. I enjoy doing
Right.
it. Okay, after the 10th video in a day, it does become a bit, difficult. But 3 or 4 videos a day, 6 days a week seems pretty fine to me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So how did you come across my channel? Just out of curiosity.
Well, as far as I can remember, because I don't have the best of memories, Captain, that's why I make the videos. Even I get surprised by what's in them. But as far as I can remember, I believe I saw you in the chat of one of Loki's streams, Stone Loki's Mornings of Mischief. And I thought, what an interesting name. I should check him out, see what he's about, because I'm a great Star Trek fan. The golden age of Star Trek from 1987 to 2005. Although towards the end, it was a bit lackluster. Far better than today, though.
True.
But I came across your channel, looked through the content you had created, poked my head into a few of your streams, lurked for a bit, and thought you were a rising star. And I thought, this guy seems like a good content creator. Why not give him a bit of positive publicity, give him a boost, and hopefully he enjoys.
Absolutely. And like I said, I was watching Loki's stream that morning.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. Hello? What? I gotta watch this. And as I said backstage, it's like, oh great. I'm worried. I was worried about it. I thought, this is gonna be bad. And I was surprised. Pleasantly. Because, go ahead.
Well, I was actually surprised to get an invite from Stone Loki, someone who had been a great inspiration to me personally, to give me the gusto, as it were, to make videos and to keep going. I never thought I would be on a live stream. I got my big break with Rambling Canuck, Robert Knowles, great guy. You guys should check him out after the stream. And then from there, Stone Loki and a few others. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But it was extraordinary. I never thought I'd be on a live show in public to viewers. I mean, who would want to listen to me? Someone who, apart from giving my thoughts on things, apart from that, I am a content creator that talks about other content creators and takes suggestions from the audience. That's just me.
I think that's part of the appeal, is that you are so honest about what your thoughts are about other content creators, but you're not doing it in a negative way. I've seen some very, well, don't go to this person's stuff because it's crap, blah, 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 blah. I haven't seen you making hate videos. Now, if somebody you don't care for, I can understand, but there's a difference.
Well, Captain, I'll be honest with you, and I'll be honest with everyone watching and everyone in the chat. There are 4 content creators on all video platforms, YouTube and all the there's only 4 content creators that I really don't like. And I've talked about all 4 of them. Number 1 is Jack Murphy, because of what happened with him being a hypocrite, the so-called alpha who was in reality a cuck. The second, DSP, because he's a money grabber, and he just does it all the time, just non-stop e-begging. Number 3, Nicocado Avocado, because the man is literally eating himself to death on video for views, subscribers, and money. He's killing himself in a sense. Now, YouTube has rules against self-harm, right? But they don't enforce it on the likes of him. Or the 4th person that I dislike, Hungry Fat Chick. The lady can't even stand, Captain. She can't even stand. She's killing herself because she's overeating. To me, that's self-harm, and it's worthy of critique. But out of all the internet, Captain, out of all of the internet and all the content creators, there are only 4 that I really dislike. There are lots of people that I don't know about. There are some people that I really like and enjoy, the rising stars and the rising stars who have made it. Those are my titles for rising stars. And I try to be as positive as possible, but there are times when I can be critical, but I prefer to be positive. Although some of my thoughts, Captain, have been subject to YouTube bannings, because I got a community guideline strike a week and a half ago for giving my thoughts on William Thomas, who calls himself Leah Thomas, the swimmer, yes, the transgender swimmer who won that women's swimming race. And they got rid of the video on grounds of harassment and cyberbullying for me stating a simple fact that a man is competing in women's sports, which I believe is unacceptable.
I fully support your opinion on that, because I mean, genetically, he's male. You can't deny that.
You see, Captain, in my youth as a teenager, I was very political. I understand the woke mob, mainly because for a time I supported not their ideas, but the ideas which led to the woke. You know, the left, the far left, as a child and as a young teenager. So I understand their tactics. These people don't believe in physical reality of the senses, sight, taste, touch, all that. They think everything is a social construct. Gender is a social construct. Class is a social construct. Race is a social construct. These people don't believe in reality. That's why they think men are women. That's why they think there is no differences between people, because they think everything is subject to changes within society. Society changes people. People are all the same. They're only different because they're twisted and molded by their society. So that's what they do. It's full of political correctness, social justice, identity politics. And that's why I personally, Captain, believe that I can give a good assessment on these people. Because when you use arguments against them, they don't care. Because facts, logic, aren't real. They're a social construct. They don't believe in objective reality. They believe in subjective belief. So, yeah, these people, that's why I don't think they can be fixed, because they see the world in a subjective way. There is no right, there is no wrong. Just believe whatever you want to believe.
I can't deal, quite honestly, I can't deal with that. That just is beyond me, how people can see as there is no right and wrong.
Hmm.
You know, I'm sorry. A cup of coffee, if it's hot, it's hot. You don't. Well, it's unless you've got a temperature meter on that and going, basing it on degree. Um, you know, I'm sorry. Killing is killing. I guess there are
Hmm.
circumstances where it's not murder, but it's still killing.
Hmm.
And they're
I can
wanting
understand.
to go ahead.
Well, I understand that position, Captain, because you are someone who believes in objective reality, in fact-based evidence of senses. You see what you see, you feel what you feel with your hands and feet, you can smell what you smell, taste what you taste, and so on and so forth. You believe the world is real and everything within it is also real. These people
Correct.
don't. Their mindset is subjective. What they imagine in their minds, Captain, as an example, of a chair is the chair. And everything else that is also a chair is a sort of crude version of that ideal within their mind. That's why they can say men are women and women are men, because to them, gender is something created by society and culture to label people with. That's why they say that if you feel like a woman, you are a woman because you feel it within your mind and your body. Everything is within the realm of the mind for these people. Whereas for us, we understand the world through the body, through physical reality. So, yes, that's why the woke think as they do.
I mean, okay, I can honestly say, now this is, and I'm speaking for the majority of people because I know there are exceptions. There are exceptions to every rule. Okay, but for the vast majority of the planet, there are two sexes. And I'm sorry, kindergarten cop, got it right. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. You
Yep,
either pee
yep.
standing up or you pee sitting down. Now,
Oh, yes, yes.
are there exceptions? Of course. There are abnormalities, there are whatever. But for the
Hmm.
vast majority of the humanoid race, there are two genders.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't understand the idea that, okay, if you're a male and feel like a woman, okay, that's fine. You can wear pretty dresses and whatever you want. That okay. Don't care. Just don't go to the women's bathroom and expect
Hmm.
to check out other women. It's like that. No, that's not
Hmm.
what women do generally. Um,
Yes, yes. I simply make the point, ladies and gentlemen, because the woke, we call them woke, but in
mhm.
reality, they are the successors of the communists who we defeated in the West during the Cold War. And they could not accept defeat, so they decided to change the battlegrounds from class warfare, rich versus poor, to matters of gender, race, sexuality, to divide society that way to defeat the West. So that's why we are struggling against woke ideology because of what is essentially the culture war is the new Cold War, folks.
Mhm.
You've got one side and you've got the other. And we are on the side that, for the Cold War example, is America and the West, whereas the woke are on the side, to use the Cold War example again, of the Soviet Union, of the People's Republic of China, or of North Korea, and that sort of thing. So that's why the culture war is important, folks. And hopefully, more and more people come on the internet, there are about 115 million YouTube accounts that exist, Captain. About 50 million of them, 51 million of them are active channels that create content, and about 30 million YouTube content creators have over 100 subscribers. So yeah,
Wow.
everyone over 100 subscribers, that is 30 million people out of a population of 8 billion. So this battle has only started.
I didn't realize the number was so small.
Yeah. Most people, Captain, who use YouTube aren't signed in. They have 1 to 2 billion people use it, but the vast majority of people are not signed into it.
Right.
Yeah, so about 115 million content creators who make videos, and of them, 30 million channels or people, if you assume each channel is a person, 30 million channels have over 100 subscribers. So it's like a pyramid. You've got the vast majority of people who just watch, and then a smaller amount of people, but still a lot of people, have channels. And then you've got the channels with over 100, then over 1,000, over 10,000, and then onwards and upwards from there. In fact, Captain, if my statistics are correct here, there are only how many? 10 million? Yeah, 10 million YouTube channels with over 1,000 subscribers. Only 10 million. So it's like a pyramid. Wow. So this has only just begun, folks. If you want to start a channel, if you want to create content, speak your mind, do so now. It's going to be difficult. You may not get a big audience. You may only get 10 or 100 or hopefully 1,000. But get creating, because it's only just begun.
Well, I think one thing that stops people is the thought, nobody will care what I think.
Yes, definitely. In fact, if I can just interject, I actually planned on starting a YouTube channel in late 2015. That was 6.5, 7 years ago. But I decided not to. And I didn't create my first video until mid-2018. And then after that, I didn't first make videos consistently until late 2020. So the most difficult thing for a content creator, guys, in chat, watching, and Captain, most difficult thing as a content creator is starting. Making videos, speaking your mind on anything, on everything. Anything can be a YouTube video, whether it's about your computer, your lamp, your drawing, even your damn cup. Anything can be a video. Now, whether it gets viewership, well, you've got to assume at the start that no one watches. But that shouldn't stop you from making videos, sharing those videos on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, although I think TikTok is garbage, Gab, BitChute, Parler, Odyssey, everywhere to just get your message out. And at the start, no one will watch. During my first run as a content creator, in about 3 months, I got about 2,000 views in 3 months. Now I get about 2,000 views in 3 weeks. And it's only been 6 to 12 months.
Wow.
So you will grow. Hopefully I don't fall as quickly as I've risen, Captain. Because I'd rather not fall.
No.
But if I can do this, folks, everyone watching can do it as well. Especially if you're on your phone, on your laptop, you got a camera, you got an internet connection to transfer the video to the YouTube or to other social media sites. Make videos. Speak your mind. The more of us there are, the better. And we can all support one another.
Absolutely. I'm amazed at the number of people that I know that started just using their phones. And
Hmm.
because I've known a few people, it's like they started their YouTube channel. They're bigger than me. They started
Hmm.
their YouTube channel on their phone.
Oh, yeah. So did I. In fact, despite my profile picture, folks, I am 22 years old. I'll be 23 in late June. I don't know how old Captain Trek is, but since he is a family man, I'm going to assume he's somewhere in his 30s, 40s, just an assumption. But for everyone watching, my advice would be start a channel as young as you can. Although teenager, late teenager, about 15, 16, because that's when I wanted to start. If you can
Right.
start then start. Because you could have a career, potentially, spanning 40 or 50 years. And in that time frame, you could get hundreds of thousands of subscribers. You could have, I don't know, a few hundred to a few thousand members in that time. Won't be easy, but it could become a career. I didn't start this out to be a career. Personally, uh, I don't like getting money from people. That's just me because I don't consider this to be work.
No.
But yeah, you could potentially make a career out of it. It could take a few years, especially as a live streamer, because the growth of live streamers is the slowest, but it
Mm-hmm.
is the most consistent. Followed by content creators, then followed by shorts channels. I mean, shorts channels can go from 0 subscribers to 1,000 subscribers, and then go from 1,000 subscribers way back down to 100 or 200. So if you want to start a channel, me personally, content creator, Captain Trek, others, live streamers, and
Right.
go from there.
Well, I think another thing that going on something that you said, based on just starting and making videos, would be yeah, you're going to have few views on those, but those are going to be your practice videos, because
Oh yeah.
every time you do stuff, you'll get better. You'll learn more.
Mm-hmm.
You'll figure out
Oh yeah.
things. Well, I should have, and you'll look back and watch those videos, which I've done, and I'm going, oh God, I did that back then. Because I
Oh yes.
started in 2020, yeah,
Mm.
doing live streams. I'd started listening to YouTube really in 2019. My channel is older than that, but I didn't really do anything until then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Because
believe
back
you
then,
were. I
go
believe
ahead.
you were in the hospital at that time, and it in watching videos, and it inspired you to do it as well.
Well, see, that was the thing. I was bored in the hospital, and I was looking up Star Trek, and I came across some videos, and eventually I came across Bird of Prey 5, and so he and I started talking. Now, he and I disagree politically on a number of things,
Yeah.
but he is one of my most trusted people.
Hmm.
I know he's there. I know he's going to be there. And when he's not in the chat, I'm usually worried, because it's like, because I know right now he's having some health issues, so I get concerned
Oh.
for him, and I'm sorry for not recognizing the chat. I must apologize for that. I just get caught up in the conversation. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
GMC, I know I heard about your channel. That sucks. YouTube.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I hate it
And of
when
course, Bert
YouTube
has
tries to poach people.
chime in. All roads lead back to Kuroga. See, even when he's not talking, he's listening. So, yeah, you never know who's there. You never know who's there because obviously, you're like right now. The studio is showing that I have 8 people watching. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean there are 8 people there. Because a lot of times that number is skewed.
Oh.
So, I mean, I've literally been in chat where there were 4 people that were showing as watching. 10 people were chatting in the chat.
So the lesson we can learn from that, Captain, is that everybody watching, speak your mind in the comments. You might get a mention.
Absolutely.
So we can gauge how many people are actually here. Hey, Brandon, let's go, Brandon.
And Kapla Richie Pool. And for the win, gaming and sports. I like that name, even though I don't like the reason behind it. I like the name.
Oh yes. I mean, it's very easy to talk about sports, gaming. They're not supposed to be controversial topics. I mean, they're not supposed to be political. But in the age of the culture war, ladies and gentlemen, everything is political. And for most people, it's a bummer. But for me, I've been interested in politics since I was 7, 8 years old. I love it. But I understand that most people don't. So I try to keep the politics down and focus on content creators, rising stars, and take suggestions from the audience and speak my mind in my thoughts.
Well, I mean, I had some doubts for a little bit because it's like, okay, should I even continue? Because I hate the direction of Star Trek now. Should I even continue with the name Captain Trek? And I had a few people I talked to. Couple of them were like, well, you might want to consider that. Others were like, no, don't change it. But you got to do what's best for you. I even did a poll in the community tab where people, for the most part, were no, keep it. And I came to realize that for me, it's more than just Star Trek. It's Trek as in a journey. This channel has become a journey. It's not just about a single TV franchise. Because I like Star Trek. I like Star Wars. I like other things. I talk about current events. We talk about other stuff. I'll have an open panel, or like now I'll have a single individual on where we're just discussing whatever happens to come up at the time.
That's completely understandable.
And this is what, people are going to be upset because I'm not having the open panels all the time. Because that's really how it started out. But I think, channels have to change based on what's really, I don't want to say popular, but what really works at the time. And when I started, that worked because that, people were locked up. They were stuck at home. There was nothing going on. There were a lot more people on at the time. So people were available to come on. Now, there aren't as many people that are available. So I have an open lines, and there are 3 people. Whereas before it was like Oh, oops, I've got my 10 and I've got more people that are trying to get in.
Yes. Yeah. Well, personally, Trek, although I'm not a live streamer, I foresee a similar problem with suggestion videos because they are a good chunk of my channel. They're not the
Mm-hmm.
majority, they are a minority. But as I grow, I am going to expect more and more suggestion videos because suggestion videos are very useful for me to create more content and it allows for audience participation. But I know it will come to a stage where I won't be able to do them all because there would be hundreds or thousands of them. And I can barely do 4 videos a day for 6 days a week. um, but I know one day suggestion videos are going to go on the decline. Personally, with live streams, I prefer one-to-ones or with 3 people,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because my signal can't deal with more than 4 people.
Right.
I use a laptop, wireless signal, all that. So, yes, channels need to change. But I think, Captain, people are sick and tired of constant change. Look at how the world has changed. Look at how the United States has changed in a lifetime, say 60 years.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
imagine 60 years' time if we keep going down the road of political correctness and social justice and other forms of woke ideology. We will be in a place worse than hell if we keep going down this road. That is why, for me personally, I don't want to change. I want the channel to be Ryan Roger Athe, founded in, oh, when was the channel founded? 2018? Yeah, 2018, born in 1999. And I'm never going to change. I'm going to speak my mind on topics and people that interest me. And hopefully I can keep going for many decades to come. Hopefully I keep all my hair because my fringe is going. uh, but yeah, people are sick to death of change. I mean, talk about a Star Trek fan, Captain. Would they want Picard and Discovery? Or would they want, say, a reboot of Star Trek Enterprise? Another 4 seasons of Enterprise or 3 seasons, coming back that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
CBS or Paramount, something that was independent of that, but had the name Star Trek Enterprise, because that show should not have been cancelled, in my view. It wasn't the
No,
best, but it should not have been cancelled. And
no,
from that,
exactly.
from that rebooted Star Trek Enterprise that splits away from CBS and Viacom and Paramount, you could have a sort of new or neo Star Trek, which would be new Star Trek based on the old Star Trek, TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. A few years after Voyager comes home and a new crew goes out to fight, I don't know, the Breen. Say the Breen decide to come back and take over the Alpha and Beta quadrants, and they have these
Mm-hmm.
secret allies who are in the Gamma quadrant, but they're not the Dominion because the Dominion are too far away. Their new allies are somewhere in between the Dominion and the Alpha quadrant in that part of space that we don't know about. So that would be a good story as an idea that sort of mixes the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager together into this massive neo Star Trek show that takes place 5 years after Voyager comes home from the Delta Quadrant. And it has that art style and that familiar feel of Berman Star Trek. And hopefully we make Star Trek great again and use that as a foundation, Captain, to make pop culture great again.
Well, that is the thing. Looking back at the classic Star Trek, where there was actually storytelling, good ideas. Yes, there were things that were presented that were controversial, and but it wasn't shoved down your throat and this is how it is, you take it. It was very much of a what if? What if this? What if that? And they were presented as different societies, different races, different species doing these things, not humans.
Oh, yeah. I mean, personally, Captain, my favorite Star Trek show would have to be Deep Space Nine, when Cardassia was being ravaged by the Klingons, and they were so desperate that they made a pact with the Dominion to save themselves and, in a sense, make Cardassia great again, because that's basically what Gul Dukat was trying to do. But in doing that, he sold his nation to a foreign power, which is ludicrous when you think about it, because you are not in control of your own destiny. But they were so desperate, and Dukat wanted to have the power, and the Cardassians wanted to have their land back, that they decided to do it. And the Dominion in real terms, folks, it's like the EU, like a sort of more evil, militaristic EU, European Union, in which they welcome you in, give you lots of nice stuff, but they never let you leave. It took Britain, where I'm from, about 3.5, 4 years to actually leave the European Union after we had a referendum. So, fantasy stories, science fiction stories do have a basis in real life, but they have to be entertaining, they have to be informative, but they should not be shoving ideas down people's throats. That's why Kurtzman Trek, JJ Trek, it's all crap. Because the point of it is to kill Star Trek, to make what would you call it? To make it bad, to destroy the franchise, to destroy the foundations of our culture, essentially.
Well, it's like we don't like what came before, so let's rebuild it in our image. Why? We liked what was before. Why does it need to be changed? Just because if you don't like it, go make something that you do like. I fully support people. It's like, okay, you don't want to watch TV show X. Don't watch it. Like something that you do like. Other people who don't watch TV show Y because they don't care for it aren't saying that TV show Y is bad, unless it's directly telling, unless TV show Y is saying that TV show X is evil. People aren't, for the most part, going to do anything.
Well, here's a point for you, Captain. The Orville is coming back. Now, I don't know why there was such a big gap between the last season of The Orville and the coming season of The Orville, but I can make an educated guess, and that educated guess is that the people over at CBS, Viacom, Paramount, lobbied like hell to keep that show from continuous running, because The Orville was like a mirror to Star Trek. This is what you used to be, Star Trek. And this is now what we are. That's what The Orville represented, because Seth MacFarlane loves Star Trek, and he wanted to make his own Star Trek show. And in a sort of way, he changed a few things and made it in The Orville. And now it's coming back, which is great. Because the lobbying power of CBS, Paramount, and Viacom is dead. Because they're losing money like mad. Because the people in charge of it don't care about making money. Of course not. They're communists. When has a communist ever cared about making money, Captain? They just use it, as Kurtzman said, for the agenda.
Exactly. Well, and I find it funny because it's the loud minority that are making decisions for the majority of people. This is like the Twitter experiment. You've got 1% of the users of Twitter who are making the decisions for 99%.
Yep,
and
that's why they're terrified of Elon Musk.
And only, I don't know how many percent of the general population use Twitter.
Barely any. If there are about 115 million YouTube channels, and it's used by a couple of billion people, I say, maybe tens of millions of people use Twitter, of which a few million are active. Mm-hmm. And of those few million people, about 20% of them are the woke mob. They're a minority of a minority of a minority, yet they dominate because they're all activists. They're all professional political schemers. That's why they've done so well, because the left is very good at organizing, and they can use their small numbers and their organizational abilities to speak for the oppressed as their sort of false foundation to create their hollow version of power and strength when they have none. The left doesn't have power. It has the appearance of power.
Because they keep shouting and people keep, listening.
Yep.
And I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting to if we were to actually be able to have an honest vote for something anymore. And I don't think that's possible because, quite honestly, we don't vote for the president. We vote for representatives to vote for president.
Yeah.
So the Electoral College votes for us.
Yep.
The Electoral College votes, don't automatically represent the people they're representing.
Correct. They have every right. They're within every right, Captain, to change their minds. They have every right. It would be very controversial, but they have every right to simply say, California voted for Biden. But the electors voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
They have every right to do that, but it would kick up a storm. But I understand what you're saying in that regard. We are taking on people, folks, in the woke people, the people who are mostly on the left, who don't believe in democracy. They are socialists, they are communists. Only on one occasion, Captain, in all of modern history, has a communist ever won a fair and free election. And that was in Chile in the early 1970s. That regime was deposed by Augusto Pinochet. So it's only happened once in the history of the left where they've won democratically.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And just one more point. The far left have won fewer elections in modern history, Captain, than the far right. The far right have won a good few elections in modern history in the West. And when I say modern history, I mean from 1900 until today. So yeah, the far right have won more elections democratically. Free and fair elections, mind you, not rigged ones. Freely and fairly than the far left. And yet in our culture today, who are we terrified of? The far right and not the far left. But I'm getting off the point. We're here to make pop culture great again, folks, by pointing out the failures of the present and emphasizing the glories of the past.
And you pointed out something right there. You can have a channel that is non-political, and unfortunately, it involves political discussion because anymore, it's there. You can't get away from it. And that's almost sad to say that every discussion involves politics in some way, particularly, and yes, for somebody who enjoys political discussion, that's wonderful.
Oh, yes.
I watch political channels, but I am not educated enough on political topics to really hold a discussion on them. And I would rather not talk about something that I don't have qualification to talk about. As being a fan of Star Trek, of Star Wars, things like that, I can say my opinion on that. I can say what I believe, what I feel, looking back at the history of Star Trek and seeing where it was. That, seeing people on Twitter saying that modern Star Trek is the same as classic. And it's like, are you insane? The ideas presented in the modern Star Trek are the antithesis of the original. You cannot, in my opinion, you cannot say they're the same.
Yeah, but you're arguing with people who don't believe in objective reality. So they will argue to the hilt in their subjective belief that they are exactly the same, even though they are polar opposites. That's why they drive people insane, because those people who believe in objective facts cannot understand people who do not believe in objective facts. Thankfully, I can, because for a time in my youth, I say youth, when I was an old child from about 9 years old to about 13, 14 years old, I believed what they believed in regards to left-wing ideology. Not the woke nonsense, but actual old-style left-wing politics, Cold War stuff. So I understand how they think because I thought it. Now it's just 180. Culturally, socially, I'm traditional. I don't like to say conservative because conservatives in the past have decimated the land I call my home. So I'm traditional, socially and culturally. Economically, I'm center-left because there are still some ideas that I believe in that regard. But in regards to the culture war, I am not a friend of woke ideology.
No.
That's why I see content creators such as yourself, such as Loki, such as Pops, mostly American, but some British as well, some Australian and Canadian, speaking their minds, speaking truth to power, wanting to make pop culture great again. And I see rising stars, and I talk about you guys in a positive way, because you're all worthy of praise and prestige, in my view.
I'm just glad that you were willing to come on. I figured that you would honestly have people asking you left and right to come on.
Oh, I wish. You see, if I had a stronger internet signal, Captain, I'd be on everyone's show all the time. Wouldn't make videos. I'd just appear on everyone's shows. Yeah, Loki, you can have me on every day. Every day. Fat Steven, you want me on? Yeah, go on. Have me on. Everyone. If ever you need a guest, Captain, and you can't find anyone, just DM me on Twitter. I'll be right there. Same goes for everyone else. All you have to do, if it's a 1-to-1 or if it's 3 people, like me, say, for example, me, you, and, I don't know, Loki, just as a hypothetical, that'll be fine. And any more Any more than that, signal collapses and I have to hop out.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
have a friend, not Resolute Germ. Anyhow, over in London, and he has the same problem on his phone. He gets any more than 3, and it's like loses signal. Average MUK. That's it.
You know, I have an idea. Every time we finish a sentence, we should say over, like in walkie-talkies, so that the other person can speak. Over.
Oh, see, the only problem with that would be there would be people that would be going, "The show is over." If
Yes, yes. That's very true.
So, I mean, that would be the only. Now, it would be wonderful if there was a way we could do that, where there would be an obvious way of communication where I would know you were done or you and I was done.
Well, what about a code word, like a silly word that you would never use in conversation, even formally, like I don't know, BIM. Because it's a silly word. I think it's a made-up word. But it's just a word that no one would ever use in a sentence. I was just wondering what you thought of that. BIM.
I really hadn't thought of that. I'll have to ask. I think I'm going to use my community tab and ask that question.
Okay. Just an interesting idea. I'm not a live streamer, folks, because my signal isn't that good, and I don't think it would even handle StreamYards, YouTube, and one guest. So that's why I'm a content creator. You can also be a content creator even without, no, I said BIM. BIM. Even without an internet connection, folks, you can still be a content creator, because in the early days of my channel, use my phone, which I don't use as a phone. I used it as a camera. But I used the phone, record a few videos, and take the micro SD card, put it in an SD card adapter, then put the SD card adapter into a USB adapter, then go to the local library, which is a mile away, walk there, put it into the library computer, then upload them onto my YouTube channel, then make a few, well, I didn't make thumbnails back then, but then find other things to talk about, then leave the library with the USB adapter, and then walk home after doing some shopping, or take the bus, because it's quite hilly where I live. But you can still make videos even without an internet connection, folks. You just need the tech. BIM. It's funny, though, isn't it? Saying
that is
it. BIM.
You're 47 Yorktown. No, we're not saying Alan Moraine. That's just no. Oh, Lord.
Oh, Trek.
This is another reason why. Go ahead.
I got a special place in my heart for some of the absolute train wrecks of Star Trek episodes, like Threshold, like the episode on Deep Space Nine that had Alan Moraine, or Code of Honor from Star Trek: The Next Generation. I found that very funny, that episode. And it was in the first season of TNG, when Gene Roddenberry was practically running the show. Now, I know later on he was having health trouble and he was losing control. But TNG as we know it, The Next Generation, really started in season 3, just when Roddenberry was losing control, when it became Rick Berman, Michael Piller.
Mm-hmm.
And then when TNG ended, Rick Berman, Michael Piller, and then Jerry, what was her name? I forgot the lady's name. Jerry something. Then they did Voyager, and then Piller and Jerry retired, and then they brought in Brandon Braga to do End of Voyager and Enterprise. But all
Jerry
that started
Taylor,
out,
I believe.
Yes, Jerry Taylor, yes. But we always have to understand, folks, with Star Trek in particular, the early seasons are when they're, just getting going, working out some problems. Some of them are gems. Some of those early episodes are gems, like what was that episode with Kira and that Cardassian war criminal who was pretending to be a war criminal. I forgot what the episode was called. It was in the first season of Deep Space Nine. But
Right.
Gems like that, and you also had some bummers like the Ala Moraine episode. So it takes Star Trek, like proper Star Trek, about 2 or 3 seasons to actually get going. That's why Enterprise should not have been cancelled. Its best episodes, in my view, were near the end of season 4, such as the 2-parter at the end. Not the final episode, because that was goddamn awful, but the final 2-parter with Terra Prime, human nationalists, humanity first, Earth first, a sort of proto-federation against a proto-Terran empire. Because the people, as part of Terra Prime, if they had won, the Federation would never have existed, and you could have had the first Terran Empire. So that's how the mirror universe is created, on that one point in history. And then after that 2-parter, the 5th season could have been an updated Enterprise with that engine attachment, because the NX 01 didn't have that engine
the secondary hull.
Yeah. So you could have had season 5 with that engine port with the deflector, and they go off, fight the Klingons, fight the Romulans. I don't know, take on the Breen if they go, into deep space. And have Star Trek Enterprise run up until 2008. It's a big success, and hopefully, well, not hopefully because it didn't happen, but in this scenario, hopefully, J.J. Abrams and Alex Kurtzman cease to exist in Star Trek. And then the golden age would have been 1987 to 2008. But it never happened.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could go back and change that one event?
Oh, yeah. And you could have had, if you think about it, Captain, because in season 4 of Enterprise, you had In a Mirror Darkly. You had these 2 episodes out of nowhere just explaining the Terran Empire and the discovery of the USS Defiant, I think it was called, from the Tholians. Yes. And they just popped out of nowhere. I mean, you could have had a separate series or a spin-off series in which Terra Prime wins, the Federation never comes into existence, and the Terran Empire is formed, and you could have 7 seasons from 2008 or 2005 until 2012 of the Terran Empire rising and then falling. And that's why in DS9, that's why the mirror universe is the way it is. And everything is connected to everything else in a way. But no, they decided to make it crap and split the universe in a bad way. Bim.
Oh, I love the way you think. You know, it's funny. You talk about your age, but you definitely do not sound like somebody who is in their early 20s.
Born 22nd of June, 1999, at 5:05 in the morning.
Because
Yes.
the way you talk about Star Trek is just, there's no way you could be 22. There's just,
Yes. I had to grow up fast, Captain, because my mother died when I was young. My father nearly died when I was about 10, I think 10 or 11, because of swine flu and pneumonia and that sort of thing. So I had to grow up fast. And I did. I had the knowledge of an adult by the age of 9 or 10 years old. And why was that? As a result of circumstance, but also as a result of having a parent who would allow their child to think and to speak his mind and to learn things. All things, good things, bad things, things the establishment love and things the establishment hate. That's why politically, throughout my short life, from the age of 7, 8 years old until today, politically I've been everywhere. Far left, far right, center left, center right, center. I've been everywhere without any pressure from my parents and friends. And I was able to amass this massive intelligence, although I do think I've declined from my peak because I have the occasional Joe Biden moment of, oh, where am I? What am I doing? Oh, are we recording? That's why we have, or I have bloopers, because that's when I get all foggy headed and turn into Joe Biden. But at least I'm not running for president or for politics, because I know I'm not 100%, and I probably never will be again. Bim.
You know, I find it funny because I know not 100% where I used to be. Of course, part of that I think is the medication I'm on, but I'm looking forward to actually. The funny thing is, I haven't talked about this. I'm looking at the end of my wound care regimen, so I won't necessarily have to be going in every Tuesday now. And that's granted, it's about 2 to 3 weeks from now that they're talking about possibly ending it because the wound having gotten to a point, it's gotten that much better. So I may go back to broadcasting on Tuesdays because I stopped because it was just too rough for me. And so, I may be back to 100% again one day. So,
well, Captain, I especially over the last few years, I do not trust the medical establishment. I mean, I didn't trust them before the crisis. I certainly don't trust them after. Let's just say that, folks. So if there is anything wrong with me physically or mentally, who knows? I'm not going to get it checked out because, for all I know, they could scan my brain and chuck me in the loony bin. Don't want that to happen.
No, definitely don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I was actually surprised, Captain. I'm going to say this to everyone here. I was surprised that everyone I seem to speak to has families and kids, and well, I don't. I'm barely an adult, and it's incredible to me that I'm speaking to people. Some of you are twice my age. I think Pops is in his early 50s. But I just find it incredible that I see eye to eye with people who are between 10 to 30 years my senior. Hopefully, the next generation will not be completely like me, because that would be a disaster. But hopefully the next generation, there is this renaissance for tradition, and we stop going down a road that the West has been going down for the last 60 years, full of decadence and corruption, that only now is starting to cause massive consequences.
Well, I think one of the problems is that people have lost an appreciation for what was. You know, we don't have the same freedoms we once did, and there are people that are going, "Oh, okay, yeah, no big deal." I'm going, "What?"
Yeah. I'd just like to say, Captain, just one brief thing. I don't
Please.
know how old you are, but I'm going to assume that you're 40, just as a hypothetical. Born in 1982. Now, a teenager from 1982 would start in 1995 and would end in 2001? Yeah, 2001, age of 19. Now, would you say during your time growing up as a teenager or as an early adult, are things better now or better then?
Better then.
Same for me. Things were better when I was 16, like for the world and me personally, than they are now, even at the age of 22, 23, coming up to 23. We see this decline. We can see it in our politics. We can see it in our pop culture. And the answer to it is simple. Find out what worked in the past. Take a few things out of it, and put a few things into it that make it your own thing. And then turn it into a story. Turn it into a set of ideas. Turn it into something that people will be interested in. Such as with Star Trek, Seth MacFarlane and the Orville. He took Star Trek, took a few things out of it, chucked it away, put a few things into it, and created the Orville. I mean, the Orville is practically the Enterprise, despite a few changes. Instead of the crew being professionals, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, first ship out into space and all that, they're all full of people who are second rate because the Earth authorities want as many ships out there as possible. And they've passed over Seth MacFarlane's captain time and time and time again. And sort of it being a Star Trek, change a few things and add a bit of Family Guy comedy. And then you have the Orville, which was, and hopefully will be, a continuing success.
Yes.
Because I'm very good at this when I make stories, Captain. You take a Star Wars, you take all the things that make it good, you keep them. You take all the characters out, the ship designs, the world, and then you put that in, your own version in, with a storyline that, say, copies A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. And then you release that as your own unique story. And that's what I thought Disney was going to do. But they broke it with The Last Jedi and then tried to fix it in a Rise of Skywalker. So they failed. They couldn't even do that. They couldn't even take the original trilogy, change a few things, but keep the storyline the same. And that's why Star Wars is a failure. Star Wars films. But that's how we can create our own pop culture. We take things from the past, keep the things that work, the storylines and such, take out the characters and the world and the ship designs and other things, and put our own versions in them. And then create our own stories that have the foundations of the things we loved. It's called an inspiration. Bim.
Well, okay. I'm going to say, because MetaGuide says he thinks that things are better now, and
Mhm.
Dr. Alex agrees that many things are better now. Yes,
Mhm.
internet connections are better now.
Oh, yes. Technologically, yes, I would agree with every single one of you. However, politically, socially, culturally, no, things were better 20, 30 years ago by a country
Agreed.
mile. Whereas technologically, things are far better today than they were 20, 30 years ago. If this stuff, Captain, if the stuff that was going on today with political correctness, social justice, was happening in the 90s, we wouldn't stand a chance against them because the people in those institutions would have had control of all the media, all of politics, all of the discussion, and we wouldn't have a hope in hell of stopping them. So technologically, you guys are right. Things have gotten better, and it's given us a chance. But in other aspects, I would say things have gotten worse, especially since the crisis, as I like to call it.
Well, Gorillas, the only problem with your Thursday stream is usually he would be in bed by then.
What time is it? What time is it in your time, Gorilla? Because I can be available early. I mean, I don't know whether you're based in the United States, Canada, or Australia, but say
That
you
would
were
be
based
it would be United States.
United States.
Mm-hmm.
So anywhere between 5 to 9 hours ahead of the UK. So, I'd say it would be possible. I mean, you can give me the times through a Twitter DM. I mean, my name is the same on Twitter as it is on YouTube, so you can tell me. I'd love to be on. I'd like one-to-ones with people to talk about bad episodes. I'll be on everyone's show if I can. Doesn't matter how big you are or small you are. Doesn't matter if you're the Critical Drinker or Captain Trek or Loki's Mornings of Mischief or Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I'm willing to speak to anyone.
That is awesome.
Oh, behind. Yes, behind. Yes, that's what I meant. 6 behind, not ahead. Whoops. Yes, 5 to 9 hours behind.
Behind, yes.
Except if you live in Hawaii or Alaska.
Words. Yeah. Oh, wow. No, I want to thank you for being on today. It's been very
Oh, it's
fun
my
to be able
pleasure,
to talk.
Captain. My pleasure. I hope you get to 1,000 as quickly as possible. Hopefully by the end of the year. Hopefully I get to 1,000 by the end of the year.
You never know.
You never know. Yeah.
You could surpass me before the end of the year.
Oh, I wouldn't say career mega cropper, because if I think of this as a job, then I'm out. Carry on.
No, thank you. I'm so glad that you wanted to be on today. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a stream. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And you all have a great day. I'll see you soon.